Welcome to the Todd Allbaugh Show. It's Thursday, August 28th. That's what all I got.
That's all. We have Phil Nee from WRCO. We have Chad Holmes from WXCO talking about high school football tonight. Start of the high school fall season. Technically last weekend, but really getting underway this weekend. Wisconsin Badgers kicking off tonight against Miami of Ohio. We'll talk about that. Brewers in action right now at AmFam Field, although not looking great so far. And touching on what happened in Minnesota. All that and more. Stay tuned, everyone.
We got about 15 seconds.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. It is 6 past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Thursday, August 28th, 2025. A great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along with us from the world headquarters of it's the world headquarters of downtown Madison. It's the Civic Media World Headquarters in downtown Madison on a pretty nice day. Blue skies. Some high cumulus clouds. I know Brittany Merlot, but I believe those are cumulus clouds, Mr.
I think so, yeah. But it's nice outside, not
It
too
is.
hot.
It is not too hot at all. Beautiful day. Lots of people in town. Talk about that a little bit later. Badgers kicking off their football season tonight at Camp Randall against Miami of Ohio. So it's not the University of Miami, and it's not Ohio State. It's the University of Miami, Ohio, which in football terminology for a D1 program should translate to a cupcake. But don't say that. You never know. That's why they play the games. You can hear the game tonight across many of our stations in Richland Center, WRCE, WLAK in Amory, WFHR up in Wisconsin Rapids, and WPRN in beautiful Ripon. Hear that game starting at 6 o'clock tonight, 2-hour pregame show, and then the kickoff, 8 o'clock. It's a late kickoff tonight. I believe it's on the Big Ten Network televised, and of course, right here on some of those Civic Media radio stations on the Civic Media Radio Network. So tune in. Matt LePay back on the air. That'll be great to hear him and Tausch and everybody else. Mike Keller is on that broadcast as well. So broadcast kicks off 6 o'clock tonight. Badgers taking on Miami of Ohio. And right now on some of those stations, as on the Brewers radio network, the Brewers wrapping up against Arizona at AmFam Field in Milwaukee. Pat Murphy has a look on his face right now, anything but a Murphy pancake, as the Brewers are down 6-2 in the bottom of the third. Jose Quintana was knocked out already. I mean, not physically, but just, 6 runs, you're done for the day after 3 innings. So Brewers try to get back in it. Lost last night, but it was a good game. So we'll talk to Phil Nee and Chad Holmes about a little bit about Badgers, but all the high school sports they're covering. Very proud to have those guys and others here at Civic Media calling high school sports so important to so many of our communities. So we'll talk about that in hour 2. What's worse today, Badgers, of course, much to my chagrin, changed over sodas a few years ago. No longer Coca-Cola products. Now it's, I think it was Dr. Pepper, and now I think they're back to Pepsi.
Well, Dr. Pepper is a Pepsi product.
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll double check. But yeah, because Cherry Coke is Coke's response.
Got it. All right. We'll find that anyway. We'll do a soda edition of What's Worse here coming up today in hour number 2.
Yes, Dr. Pepper is a Pepsi product.
Oh, there you go. That's why they got it there, right? Very good. 9 past the hour of 2 o'clock. Wanted to start out, though, today, kind of where we left off yesterday, where and covered for 2 hours, covered the breaking news out of Minneapolis yesterday in that shooting. Some more information has come in. There is one additional victim now who is expected to survive. So up to, I believe, 18 in total were injured. 2 young students, ages 8 and 10, I believe, were shot and killed as they prayed in that church in Minneapolis yesterday. The shooter then took their own life by gunshot. I want to focus most of our time here in this first segment on the helpers. As Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, once so wisely said, he said, when tragedy strikes, my mom always said as I watch TV or listen to the radio, look for the helpers. And there were a lot of them yesterday in Minneapolis. But wanted to bring you the latest today. According to CNN, Minneapolis is in mourning after a shooter fired on praying students through the windows of a church yesterday, killing 2 children. 18 others are now wounded, most of them students. As we said, the shooter is dead, was identified as a 23-year-old who shared a manifesto on social media, was a graduate of the school in 2017. Investigators believe the shooter likely intended to carry out the attack inside the church. According to a source, the shooter visited the church weeks ago, creating a detailed drawing of the interior. But the doors were locked once mass began. So it could have been even worse in terms of casualties, but the shooter was not able to get into the church proper. Want to focus on confirmed reporting. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said law enforcement tried to interview one of the shooter's parents who lives out of state yesterday as they worked to uncover as much information about the attack as possible. Quote, I'm not sure if that occurred last night, unquote. Speaking of the attempt to contact one of the parents, my understanding is the mother of the shooter, according to the police chief O'Hara. O'Hara said that, quote, while there's obviously a connection between the shooter and the parish, unquote, noting that the shooter was a parishioner there and his mother used to work for the parish. Investigators have not found information about any, quote unquote, triggering events that would have led to the shooter to target the school and the church. Quote, what we have found so far, unfortunately, is what has been all too common in this country, is sort of a classic pathway to violence for an active shooter or a mass shooter, unquote, the chief said. This is an individual that harbored a whole lot of hate towards many people and clearly intended to commit an act of violence with as much carnage and trauma as possible for the purpose of their own personal notoriety, unquote. O'Hara, the chief, went on to say investigators believe the shooter intended to enter the church through the main entrance after barricading the side doors with 2x4s, but was never able to get in because the front door, the main doors were locked. Investigators have not found any previous arrests or issues that would have prevented the shooter from lawfully purchasing the weapons used in the attack, the chief said. But law enforcement will work to, quote, identify any potential gaps that could have prevented something like this in the future, unquote. Again, want to be really careful in dealing with what we know to be true at the time. And I would offer criticism to the federal government, especially Pam Bondi, the U.S. Attorney General, Kash Patel, FBI, for immediately rushing to a judgment and calling this a hate crime before the local police who know this best have even been able to ascertain all of the truthful, factual information. Also, there are reports that the individual who committed the shooting, their mother, let me say that again, their mother filed for a name change of this individual going on 3 years ago. And according to the name change that was on file, it appears it was what would be identified as generally a male name to a female name. There has not been factual information that we know of yet, as reported by credible law enforcement, that would clearly say that the individual who did the shooting identified themselves as a quote-unquote trans person. We don't know that. So there's been a lot of rush to judgment here. And I think cooler heads need to prevail until all the facts come out. Let's play this clip from yesterday. I think it's worth rehearing. This is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who had this to say about rushing to judgment and what the focus should be on at this time.
It's on all of us. And I have heard about a whole lot of hate that's being directed at our trans community. Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity. We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone. We should be operating from a place of love for our kids. Kids died today. This needs to be about them. This needs to be wrapping our arms around these families with every bit of love that we can possibly show. And I know that our Minneapolis family and well beyond is prepared to do exactly that. And so my message to everyone out there is, again, these families are experiencing some acute pain right now. But don't just think of these as somebody else's kids. Think of your own.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey yesterday thought his words were really well said and chosen well. Again, we don't know factually, according to law enforcement investigators, the whole story about this shooter. We do know this. After the show yesterday, Zommers and I, in our post-show chat that we do, was going through my socials on X. So what happened was this shooter allegedly created a video the night or day before. And Zommers, you know this stuff better than I do, but apparently you could record it and you could put it on YouTube, but then you schedule it to quote unquote post or go public at a different time.
Right.
So what appears to have happened is the shooter recorded a video and then scheduled it to go live or to the public yesterday, either at the time they were doing the shooting or slightly thereafter. And once it was public, as quickly as it was discovered, YouTube, in conjunction with authorities, took that down or took it off the air. For those that don't understand the vernacular of taking it down, got rid of it. Well, of course, in today's world, there are programs that capture and clip things and save it. So that video was saved in the online universe before it could be taken down and reposted. A little over 10 minutes. Zommers and I sat here and forced ourselves to watch it.
I don't recommend doing that.
It was not pleasant. It was atrocious. It was sickening, and it was evil. My words. To say that this individual, this shooter, suffered from mental illness, which obviously, clearly by the book, technically they were mentally ill. But I think that just saying that, it does a great disservice to everyone who suffers with day-to-day things of depression issues or bipolar or schizophrenia, things that people can get treatment for and recover and live with and have very full and quote-unquote normal lives. If you watch, and again, Zommers is right, don't do it as we did. If you watch this individual's video and all the weapons on the bed and talking in Joaquin Phoenix's character of the Joker voice and the My Precious voice, there's only one word that comes to mind for this individual. Possessed. This was someone who was far beyond mentally ill. They were mentally disturbed and possessed, and it was evil. The individual said, F the kids that they were about to shoot. Back after this, more discussion of the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
listening to 92.7 WMDX.
Is your computer so slow you can hardly use it? Does it have blue screens, malware, viruses, reboots, hardware crashes? Sound familiar? Computers will have problems, and when they do, you need the computer experts at Madison Computer Works. Every day we help home users and businesses keep their computers and networks running smoothly. For solutions to your computer problems, call the pros at 231-8000, and we'll turn this into this. Madison Computer Works. Computers that work for you.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. A federal appeals court panel ruled August 26 that Pennsylvania counties must count mail-in ballots with a missing or incorrect date. The decision could protect the vote of as many as 10,000 voters each election. The ballots in question were received by election officials on time from eligible voters, but lacked a date or included the wrong date. Voters claimed the rejections violated their free speech and the materiality provisions of the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Acts. August 26, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a lower court decision agreeing the rejections violated the First and 14th Amendment rights of the voters. The court also rejected the GOP's argument that the date was critical to preventing election fraud. Writing for the panel, Senior Judge D. Brooks Smith noted, quote, "And discarding thousands of ballots every election is not a reasonable trade-off in view of the date requirement's extremely limited and unlikely capacity to detect and deter fraud." The opinion continued, "We are unable to justify the Commonwealth's practice of discarding ballots contained in return envelopes with missing or incorrect dates that has resulted in the disqualification of thousands of presumably proper ballots." A separate Pennsylvania Supreme Court case arguing the ballot rejections violate the Commonwealth's Free and Equal Elections Clause is still pending. We have more at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. I'm Brian Beal.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's
About 25
construction
seconds.
season,
Thank
and
you.
the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones. Check 511wi.gov or download the app for road work or closures on your route.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Now 22 past the hour of 2 o'clock after the bottom of the hour update, agricultural update. Pam Yonke going to talk to our friends Phil Nee and Chad Holmes. I call them the two hardest working people at Civic Media. At least on the air people, for sure. They're going to be covering high school sports this weekend. Give us an update on that. But right now, I want to finish up on, again, just catching up on what happened since yesterday on this Minneapolis shooting. I want to focus again on the helpers here, but just to wrap up my thoughts from the last segment, caution, urge people to just wait and let the police do their work. Let law enforcement do their work in Minneapolis, not in D.C. And let's see where the truth leads. Let's not rush to judgment. And in the words of Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, remember that everybody's human here. We're dealing with humans. And if this individual who did this shooting turns out to be a person who identified themselves as a trans individual, it does not mean that everyone out there who is a trans person is evil or going to become a mass shooter. It has very little, in my opinion, if anything, to do with that. What we do know, factually, from the investigation so far, is this individual was obsessed with these online Zommers, help me. I mean, I think what I heard it was a subreddit. So Reddit, for those that don't know, is a social media platform. It's much more divided than like Facebook and that kind of stuff. Is that fair to say, Zommers?
Yeah, it's like
It's very specific.
Yeah, there's forums. So instead of just posting on Facebook and everyone sees it, it would be like you're posting in a Facebook group.
Right. Thank you. And so there are these social media Reddit sub-platforms out there. And I talked about this yesterday, where people who are beyond mentally disturbed, beyond mental illness, find like-minded people who are obsessed with killings and mass killings and unspeakable evils. I mean, when you have an individual recording something on video that Zommers and I saw yesterday, when this individual said, and correct me if I'm wrong, Zommers, they said they were sorry for their family, they love their family, but that was it. And F the kids deserved it.
There was that, among many, many other things, and a lot of stuff written on that. Like, it's
sick.
And it's also, you would think it was done for shock value, like somebody just trying to think of the worst things they can say and write.
So anyway, because I mean, people out there trying to use this against people who happen to be trans. Remember, most mass shootings happen to be done by straight, white, Christian identified people. So if you're going to say, oh, well, if this person ends up being a trans person, if you're going to say, well, that was the cause, well, then you should turn it around and say, well, white, straight Christianity is the cause. I mean, you know what I mean? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So I just urge people, let's all hold off. Let the law enforcement detectives do their job in Minneapolis. Let's see where the truth lies, because there were all kinds of reports last night from this individual's dad and apparently stepmom. There were interviews with the neighbors who said that this family was amazing and stable and great neighbors, and were shocked that this had happened, that nobody could have seen this coming from this family. So let's focus on the helpers. Chief Brian O'Hara said law enforcement I'm sorry, that was the first story. Pardon me here. Dr. John Gakin, a trauma surgeon at Hennepin County Medical Center, called the response by his organization to yesterday's shooting, quote, inspiring, unquote, describing how staff went above and beyond to care for the victims, many of them children. In one instance, he said, a nurse manager climbed into a CT or CAT scanner along with a child to comfort the young, scared patient. Quote, one of the children were very scared and alone because everybody was running around and doing their jobs. And the nurse manager went into the CAT scanner with the patient, putting herself basically in harm's way of radiation, which normally we evacuate the room, Geiken said. She put a little lead on and held the hand of the patient and held her hair while she went through the scanner. Speaking of the nurse manager, so she didn't have to go through it alone. Nurse said, I don't care if I get some radiation. I'm going to hold this kid's hand and help them get through this. Hero. Unrecognized heroes from the shooting include a child who was shot while protecting another student and teachers who rushed to get kids to safety, according to EMS Chief Martin Shearer. Quote, we had one kid that covered up another kid and took a gunshot blast to his back, unquote. Quote, teachers were amazing. The teachers were getting shot at. They were protecting the kids, unquote. The EMS chief said the emergency medical response to the shooting, quote, went as well as they could be expected. We all trained for this, and things went well on that part. No matter how much you train for it, it's still really difficult on the team. And finally, a neighbor, just a neighbor, Patrick Scalen, lives about a block away from the school. He ran towards the school when he heard the shots ring out. He found two who were, quote unquote, obviously hurt. A bullet had grazed one girl in the forehead. He said another student had been shot in the neck. Quote, the girl that was shot in the head, I have received a couple of text updates. She went through surgery, I think successfully. I assume she's recovering well, and I know her surgery has been completed. Unquote. He said he has not heard how the girl shot in the neck is doing, the other girl. He said he kept a close eye on her, looking for signs of deterioration. He said, quote, I don't have medical training, so I just did the best I could, unquote. Garrison Keillor said it best. Love has brought a good many people to safety when competence was exhausted and could do nothing. Back after this with Phil Neve, Chad Holmes, talking high school sports. It's the Allbaugh Show for the Civic Media Radio Network. Stay tuned for a farm update now.
Real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX. As Wisconsin is cheering on the Brew Crew. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Not too long ago, our friends at Gums Farms in Endeavor, Wisconsin, hosted the Minister of Agriculture and his staff from Tamil Nadu, a southern state in India. I'm Stephanie Hoff for the Midwest Farm Report along with you, and we'll talk to Gums Farms about the experience next.
At the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, they know your business has always been something special. Now you can let customers know it too, in an instant, with the red and yellow Something Special from Wisconsin sticker. Joining the program gives you access to supplier and distribution information, marketing support, and a community of like-minded Wisconsin
We
businesses.
have Phil
Best of
Lee
all,
and
you'll let
Chad
people
Holmes
know that
at the
your
ready.
work is
Awesome.
done with care, quality, and love. You've always been something special. Visit somethingspecialfromwisconsin.com to make it official.
Richard Gums of Gums Farms in Endeavor says that in Tamil Nadu, India, the growers there do raise some of the same onions and carrots as we do in Wisconsin, but not quite in the same way. Richard says the Minister of Agriculture was curious about sustainability and farm technology at the Gums family business.
One of the demonstrations that we had at the onion field was an eco-robotics sprayer that is taking pictures of weeds under a hood and then making an application to those weeds, specifically termed a See and Spray generically. They were very interested in that. They wanted to ride in the sprayer and watch the monitor and see how that was functioning. So that was something that they were quite interested in.
He says hosting the Indian delegation was a little challenging as the Minister of Agriculture doesn't speak English, but thanks to interpreters, they made a great connection. This farm tour was made possible through the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. Richard Gums of Gums Farms telling us about the experience. Stick around for more agribusiness news on the way.
Unique farming operations need unique financial solutions. Egg Country Farm Credit Services offers customized financing that fits any size farm.
Yeah, for anybody on the
ranch, or
stream, Dr.
agribusiness.
Pepper's not a Pepsi product.
The next
Google
time
AI
you
lied
decide
to me.
for more land,
Google AI
equipment,
lied to me.
facilities, or maybe even an
Google
operating
And thank
lot,
you, Cam and Appleton,
contact us
and
at
what was
Egg
it,
Country.
Robert
They know
from
agriculture and will
McFarland?
work for you. Egg Country.
Yeah, for
Focused on
texting me
egg,
to correct that.
focused on you. Egg Country is an equal opportunity lender.
In dairy news this week, Edge
Certainly
Dairy
not the
Farmer
most important thing
Cooperative, one of
covered
the
this half
largest
hour,
dairy
but-
co-ops in the country,
nonetheless,
says it's
I don't wanna
encouraged
lie
by
on
the
the radio.
trade
Correct ourselves.
I already
framework
did,
between
but
the
I don't
US
want to
and
lie on the radio.
European Union. The agreement will eliminate EU tariffs on U.S. industrial goods and expand access for a variety of agricultural products, including dairy. In return, the U.S. will apply reciprocal tariffs on EU goods. Edge Board President Heidi Fisher said the co-op supports finalizing the deal, calling it an important opportunity for dairy farmers. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Stephanie Hoff.
As Wisconsin is hitting the road on your Harley. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly sunny and comfortable today. High temperatures in the mid-70s. Well, clear skies tonight, falling crisp down to the mid-40s. There is a teeny tiny chance for some
Yes, Bill.
sprinkles or light showers
Bill on
tomorrow
YouTube,
midday.
we
Otherwise,
inadvertently
partly sunny
misled
and
you, but we'll
dry
correct
for
ourselves
the
now.
rest of the weekend. Right now, it's 71
Yep.
degrees.
Yep. I stand accused.
My name is
and
DeMar Hamlin.
Convicted
I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety.
by a jury of
CPR
my own
saved my
peers.
life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association
jury
as
of
the
our
national
viewers.
ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers. Through CPR education and
Yes,
access
I'll have to
AEDs,
issue a correction.
Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.
Hey there, Wisconsin. Tom Hartman here. Democracy is not a spectator sport, so join me each and every weekday right here on Civic Media for the Tom Hartman program from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Covering the news of the day and sharing ways for
Covering
you to
the
get off
news,
the sidelines
sharing
and
crypto.
get active in your community.
No,
Because change
not sharing it.
starts
You have to buy that.
Shilling.
Yes,
Shilling
that's better. That's better.
Shilling
Tune in to
crypto.
the Tom Hartman program.
It's the Tom
Monday
Hartman
through
show.
Friday from 11 a.m. to 2
20
p.m.
seconds.
right here.
All right,
on
boys,
your
here we go.
local Civic
untrue, you know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 2 o'clock on Thursday, August 28th. Turns out, Zommers, we were kind of liars because in the last segment we were talking about Pepsi and Dr. Pepper, and I didn't know for sure, and then you checked, and we inadvertently told people that Dr. Pepper was a part of PepsiCo, and the phones lit up, the Christmas trees went on, and it turns out, no, we are inaccurate.
We were not liars. I was a liar. I apologize for relying on Google AI summary, which misled me.
This is my point.
Yeah.
You cannot trust AI.
Cam in Appleton and Robert in McFarland texted in to correct me, and yep, Dr. Pepper is its own thing, along with some other brands incorporated in there. It is not a Pepsi product. It is not a Coke product.
Right. I'm a Pepper, you're a Pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a Pepper too? Wouldn't you like to be a broadcaster too? We are joined by two of our great colleagues. I call them the two hardest working on-air people in civic media. The general manager and host of Those Were the Days. He has his own talk show and the voice of high school sports in Southwest Wisconsin, Mr. Phil Nee on the line, as well as the general manager has his own talk show and the voice of Central Wisconsin sports from WXCO, Chad Holmes. Now look, these two guys, they got their own life. They're on the road, and they're taking time for our little dog and pony show via the phone. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hello there, Todd.
Thank you very much, Todd.
Appreciate you both having on. I know you're joining us as you're on the road, so we'll hope our audience just look. They're doing us a solid here by coming on via cell phone. Phil, let's start with you. I know technically the high school sports season kicked off last week, but this is really the week, I think, with the Badgers kicking off tonight as well, that everybody's kind of focused in now, for many people, at least in public schools, starting next week.
Exactly. Yeah, this is it. A lot of schools in our area played Thursday games last week. While there are a few this week, most of our area teams in Southwest Wisconsin are playing Friday night, so it really seems like a big night of high school football. It's the last week of the non-league games for our area teams, and they'll start conference play next week. It's also the first year of a new WIA playoff point system, which they garner points at the end of the year. They're going to add it up and hopefully do a bit better job of seeding the playoffs coming up in October.
And Chad Holmes, I know you're literally joining us from a team bus right now on the way to a game tonight. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. The Wisconsin Valley Conference schools are all playing Thursday night games again this week. And I'm with the Wausau West football team as we are just past Thorpe, heading west on Highway 29, heading towards Hudson for the game tonight.
Now, this will be, we won't do it today, but this will be a fun game to play, Stump Phil and Chad, because I bet between the two of you guys, there are not many sports fields in this state that between the two of you haven't been to.
We've been to a lot of them.
It was fun last Friday. I actually went to a new place. I went to Westby for the first time down in Southwest Wisconsin, and it was from Wausau to Westby is not the easiest trek. There's a lot of two-lane roads, and I was with one of the area football coaches, commentator, and basically the whole time he is looking out for deer and making me very nervous. And it was just it was like a 2.5-hour ride on a two-way road, and there were times where I had no idea where I was, but we fortunately did not have any deer issues and got back safely.
Now, Phil, Westby is just outside of WRCO's listening area where you and I grew up in Southwest Wisconsin. In our neck of the woods, deer, especially when you're in Elroy Pampoo's driver's ed class, that's just a day-to-day obstacle, right?
Oh, absolutely. My 2005 Pontiac Vive has hit 4 of them over the years, so I'm well aware of deer on the roadways. The other obstacle in the Westby area, actually a lot of Amish buggies and bicycles too, you have to be very careful of.
But you get great cookies. That's the trade-off. Great bakery.
Oh, is that right?
Great bakery it must be with the Amish bakeries.
Oh, that's true.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Forgot about that.
All right, back to the matters at hand, gentlemen. Chad, what are the hot teams in north central Wisconsin and the WXCO area? I suppose you got to give a shout out to the team you're riding with, or you won't get a ride home. But what are you looking at in the XCO area?
Well, yes, I think, and we had 3 games last week. We had 3 winners last week, so we're 3-0 so far this season. So it's all been very good. I think Wausau West is a team that will be in the upper half of the Wisconsin Valley Conference. I think there's a lot of good skill. I think DC Everest in our neck of the woods made it to the state semifinals a year ago. They have some good talent back. They'll be right there. Stevens Point is also a team from the Valley that I think has the potential to make a decent run. But the Valley just needs to be a little more consistent. We've seen the Big Rivers who are playing tonight with Hudson have had the better of the games with the Wisconsin Valley in recent years, and Valley is closing the gap a little bit. But I think still in the Fox Valley and then also the Big Rivers, those are the Division I schools that have been troublesome for the Valley teams. And small schools are actually in central Wisconsin that are really, really solid. You have Stratford, who I think is going for 4 in a row in terms of state championships. You got Edgar, who is always there. They've won a couple of state championships in the last couple of years. In fact, Edgar and Stratford play a non-conference game tomorrow night that a lot of people are looking forward to in this part of the state as well. And on the 8-player side, tomorrow night I'll be doing Newman Catholic football. We do them as well. And they have won a couple of state championships in the last 4 years. And they're always a rock-solid program in the 8-player game.
We're talking with Chad Holmes from WXCO in Wausau, Wisconsin, and Phil Nee at WRCO and WRCE in Richland Center in Southwest Wisconsin. Phil, in terms of Southwest area of the state, what are the teams you're looking to cover? Who could make some noise in this year's high school sports area?
Well, tomorrow night we'll be on the road with River Valley. They're taking on Wisconsin Dells. River Valley's kind of building back up a program. They have a new coach. In fact, our conference, the Southwest Conference, has 4 new head coaches. It's kind of unprecedented, but a lot of unknowns in the league. We're looking forward to your old alma mater, Richland Center. I think they're kind of on the upswing, and
they're 1-0,
really
right?
Nice game last week, and big win against Viroqua last week, and they had a running back, Brady Dosh, who had 247 yards rushing. So they're looking pretty good. And then on the 8-player side, North Crawford and DeSoto look really strong here in Southwest Wisconsin.
Well, that, in the words of the late, great Elvitus Rip, my old high school football coach, that is excellent. Father? Yes, my son. So that's great news. Well, here, let's talk, Chad, get your you guys brought this up, Phil did, I think. What about this points system? Because I know last year, correct me guys if I'm wrong, you had teams with losing records going to the playoffs. I'm old school. If you haven't got a winning record, I don't think you deserve postseason. But Chad, what's your take on this new system? Is it going to help?
Well, I think it will. Don't quiz me on the details quite yet. All these numbers based on who you play and who you beat. But I know right here in central Wisconsin last year, Everest won the Wisconsin Valley Conference. They beat Stevens Point in the regular season, but yet somehow DC Everest got a very short straw and got a number 7 seed. But it showed again that basically those seedings were way off because they went and won 3 straight road games to make it to the state semifinals. They felt right from the very beginning they were vastly underseeded. I do think that the way they're doing it this time around has the potential to be a stronger ultimate seeding process and a better bracket for when we do get to the playoffs. But again, I'm very curious to see how it does work.
Phil, your opinion on this new system, WIAA, in terms, we're not talking, it's not voting or anything. How do you know any of the particulars of how this works in terms of assigning points, not just wins?
Sure, and I'm kind of waiting to pass judgment on it before, I think the end of the season we'll know a little bit more. But, for instance, Richland Center is a little bigger school. Tomorrow night they play Potosi-Cassville, which is a smaller school. The smaller school benefits if they defeat Richland Center because they get more points for the bigger school that they play, and especially if Richland Center goes on and has a good season, they can use that kind of as a lobby there toward the end of the season. So it's advantageous for some of these schools, especially in the non-conference, to play larger schools and try to get a win to maybe get more points for the playoffs.
I think that's really cool because for those in Southwest Wisconsin, I, as Phil said, went to Richland Center, and we would play a smaller town like Fenimore, which isn't all that far away, but a smaller school. So if it's kind of the David knocking off the Goliath, you get extra points for that then, right, Phil?
Exactly. And the same thing holds true for Richland Center. Potosi Castro went to the state final last year. So let's say they have a good season. It also bodes well on the other side for Richland Center, even if they lose to them, that they have played them this year, and that could help them down the road.
Chad Holmes, some of these we've talked with our Civic Media Sports Director, Jimmy Kuska, on some of these WIAA changes. Things like, there is a limited, and I think that's a fair term to say, a limited version of NIL now in high school sports, but it's pretty complicated. Also, this new rule that if parents start harassing the officials, they can be tossed out and have to go basically to school and learn how to be a better fan before they can come back. Chad, in your opinion, what sort of changes on the WIAA are you watching that you think are good for the sport that fans might actually see a difference this year?
And I do think that the basically having a code of conduct for the fans is important. I've seen way too often in recent years where there are some fans that just do cross the line, and we're in an era right now where it's difficult to get officials. And if you're going to be a fan that is constantly riding the officials all the time, you're not going. The officials are going to say, "Hey, I don't need this. I mean, yeah, it's nice getting a little extra money to so we get closer to Christmas time, but at the same time, is it really well worth it?" And if you're so bad that ultimately you have to be kicked out, the fact that they have to go and take a mini class to get back in, I think, is one of the things that is vitally important. And this NIL, and I'm going to be curious to see how it works. I saw a posting on social media a few weeks ago. It was an announcement from a stud basketball player announcing he was going to a school in Wisconsin, and it had all the earmarks of something like that. It did not have the normal transfer feel to it. And my antennae kind of perked up. I don't know all the details, but I think there's going to be some kind of maybe ripples. Not a whole lot, but I think some of these schools, who knows, may be able to use something in order to get kids coming in. And I really can't say that is something I'm looking forward to seeing.
Right. Phil, in Southwest Wisconsin, have you seen any of those repercussions of the new kind of modified NIL for high school? And I know your colleague, our friend Henry Bray, their RCO in Southwest Wisconsin, is an official himself. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's an official, and I think he really appreciates the fact of the new conduct rule. I've seen, like Chad, I've seen a lot of bad instances of fans pushing coaches and refs and things like that after games. So, that needs to be stopped, and I think that's a way to do that. As far as NIL, I'm not sure that the athletes in our area, that affects them that much as far as getting endorsements and things like that. But Chad is right. I think teams can use that as some sort of leverage to get them to come to their area, especially some of the higher populated areas.
Yeah. I'm excited, guys. I mean, for those of us that grew up in especially, but football is and high school sports, it's both urban and country. But boy, the smell of fall, the fresh grass on the field, it's a little nippy in the air. It just there's some excitement about it, and I'm so happy that both you, Phil Nee at RCO, and you, Chad Holmes at XCO, are two of the very best in this business. You've been doing it a long time. We're fortunate to have you at Civic Media, and people should download the Civic Media app. You can hear Phil Nee and Chad Holmes on the respective stations for free. Guys, travel safely, and thanks for taking time with us today.
Thanks, Todd, you bet.
All right, thanks so much.
Mr. Pibb. Mr. Pibb was made by Pepsi, by the way.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. Come on back with more after this on the Civic Media Radio Network. A Mr. Pibb.
Bag instead of bag. This is the
Are
Civic
they?
Media Radio Network.
Was that all you're doing, or?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't really ask how much time they had. You can ask them if they want to come back or
Sun
not.
Prairie, Verona, and New Glarus. Grab a seat on the gorgeous patio and enjoy the breathtaking view. Catch live music every Thursday evening at their Sun Prairie location and sip from 48 beers on tap or a glass of your favorite wine.
All right,
They weren't actually there.
That's fine. I guess I never really said. I guess they were on the road, so I didn't want to
Right. Makes sense.
hold them for too much.
Only only at Sugar River Pizza.
Yeah.
SugarRiverPizza.com.
For those of you on the stream, our phone
The
system,
Cat
when
Times
someone
Idea
hangs up,
Fest is
sometimes their
back
name
with
just
important
stays
local
there.
and national
Oh, yeah.
topics September 8th through the 13th in Madison. This year's guest
Can you
speakers
dial up little
include
Kenny
Minnesota
Chesney,
Governor
Boys
Tim
of
Walz,
Fall?
former Georgia lawmaker and voting rights activist Stacey Abrams, and Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers. Idea Fest will also feature some of the nation's leading journalists, from Maureen Dowd of the New York Times to Evan Osnos of the New Yorker, along with former Washington Post columnist Eugene Robinson and Jennifer Rubin. Tickets at captimesmediafest.com.
Hi, my name is Chuck Collins. I'm the great-grandson of the meatpacker Oscar Mayer and a member of the Patriotic Millionaires. I'm also the author of a new book, Burned by Billionaires: How Concentrated Wealth and Power are ruining our lives and planet. This summer proved to all of us that climate change is real and it is deadly. And I'm here to tell you that a small group of billionaires are making it worse. Did you know that billionaire Jeff Bezos' wife, Lauren Sanchez, emitted more carbon in her 11-minute Blue Origin space flight than the average person emits in a lifetime? Did you know that the average super yacht produces as much carbon emissions as 1,500 regular vehicles, and that private jets emit 10 to 20 times more pollutants per passenger than commercial airplanes? So who should pay for climate change? People like you who recycle and turn off the lights when you leave the room, or billionaires who take joy rides in space? Tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. I'm Chuck Collins.
Troy, I'm not
I'm
Horbs,
a
correct.
patriotic
Yeah,
billionaire,
Pib is a
and I
Coke
approve
product.
this message.
Let's go Brewers.
That time Phil lied.
Wait. Troy is a former Coke dealer? We better
former Coca-Cola product.
Coca-Cola. It's on the screen. It says Troy says former Coke dealer here.
So download
Yes.
the free Civic Media app, find your
Coca-Cola.
local station, and listen to the
Coca-Cola.
keyword, then text
There's a
it to
pretty
the app for
one of
your
the
chance
first
to win
like
in this statewide contest.
very
Free
dirty
ticket
jokes that I learned is about Mr. Pibb, but
On your local
we're not
Civic
going to go
Media
there.
radio
Not gonna go
station and the app. The John and Gordy Show.
Still have RFK Jr. in my sights here because he wants synthetic food dyes out of the American food supply, right?
Okay.
But Mars isn't playing along.
30 seconds.
People
Thank
can
you.
freely buy cannabis, THC products,
Cannabis.
alcohol, and cigarettes. But vibrantly colored candy is an issue? Give me a break.
Oh, that sounds like a fun.
Get to wear those game day jerseys down the hall. Kings of the school, man, where the boys are fall. Well, it's turn and face the stars and stripes. It's fighting back them butterflies. It's calling in the air, all right. Yes, sir, we want the ball. And it's knocking heads and talking trash. It's slinging mud and dirt and grass. It's I got your number, I got your back. When your back's against the wall, you mess with one man, you got us all. The boys are fall.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. One of my favorite Kenny Chesney songs, Boys of Fall, here on the Civic Media Radio Network. He sang that when he played Lambeau Field a few years ago, and had some of the Packer players and coaches up there on the stage. Lyrics just great. And many thanks to Phil Nee at WRCO, WRCE, and Chad Holmes of WXCO. And when I say they're the two hardest on-air working people in civic media, I'm not making that up. Because these guys are getting up and doing morning shows at the crack of dawn, hosting their own talk shows, managing stations, and then getting in their cars in the afternoon and going and covering high school sports.
Yeah, you're not the only one to hold this opinion. I mean, I do too.
Right.
Like, they are both true old school radio guys in the highest sense of that, in terms of work ethic. And like, the radio's always on, so I always need to be on.
And I think that I know that our owner and CEO, Sage Weil, one of his core missions of this company is to have community involvement and to report things in individual communities. And no one does that better, in my opinion, than Phil Nee and Chad Holmes. Because at the end of the day, and we appreciate very much everyone who listens to this show, But at the end of the day, it's what's happening in your individual community that's more important than what I'm saying. It's listening to the games of the girls' softball, the guys' football. Our local stations cover the results of the local forensic meet. They tell you when the local high school band concert's going to be, the city council. Those are the things that matter in each of our communities. And like the Kenny Chesney song there says, there's just a certain magic, I'll use the word, on a night like tonight or tomorrow night when it's a little nippy in the air. Like I say, you can smell the fresh cut grass. And these guys go out there, and it's a team building thing. And it's really positive for your mental health to be part of something that's larger than you and to have that camaraderie, to work through adversity, to share highs and lows. Brady Ewing has talked about it on this show several times. And so hats off to all the coaches, because so many of these coaches are not getting paid what the work they put in. It's a stipend. They're not making money on this. Many thanks to all the officials, the referees working out there. To Chad and Phil's point, so many of these folks, men and women, are doing this because they want to support young people, support athletics. And that's what it's about. As I said, I was just a manager for our football. I was no Rob Wheat, you understand? Wheaty. Or Kevin Monroe. Or Ron Swingham. Or, I could keep going on. Great athletes, on our football team. I wasn't out there playing, but, Daniels and I, the two managers, along with David Turk, now he's the county board chair at Richland County, you understand? Back then, he was a manager like me. But even for us guys who were the managers, you were a part of the team. And it's great coaches, great old school coaches like the late, great Elvitus Rip, who could, really cut loose when he was angry. But he'd do anything for you to help you out. Give you a ride somewhere, write you a hall pass to get out of study hall. He'd go to bat for you. And at its best, that's what high school athletics is. And we're so proud to cover it for you here on the Civic Media Radio Network. And a reminder again, if you don't live in in Richland Center proper or Wausau proper, I know we have guys, Don Brown, I believe, down at WAUK, down in the Waukesha area. We've got folks in Wisconsin Rapids. We've got folks in Park Falls who are covering high school sports as well. And so that's the benefit of downloading the Civic Media app. You can do it today for free. Just simply go to your app store on your iPhone or your Android device. Type in Civic, CIVIC, and it'll pop up. Takes less than a minute. It is free, is what Gail King calls a deal. And here's the deal. Tomorrow, Free Ticket Friday. We will be here live. We're doing it live tomorrow. We'll give you another word tomorrow, and you'll have a chance to win 4 club-level seats to a future Milwaukee Brewers game. Probably glad you're not there today. Well, there's time left. It's the top of the 6th. Arizona 6, the Brewers have come back 4. So 6-4, Arizona, top of the 6th in AmFam Field in Milwaukee. We'll continue to follow that for you. And also, we have stirred up a soda controversy because now Phil Nee said, well, Mr. Pibb was a Pepsi.
He said it was a Pepsi product,
He
which
said
is
it was
not
a
true.
Pepsi product. Troy, one of our great listeners, Troy out in Mount Horeb, listening on WMDX, says, this is the exact text he sent in. Quote, former Coke dealer here. Mr. Pibb is a Coke product, unquote, which we had to quickly clarify on the stream, a Coca-Cola dealer.
Well, I guess Troy himself is not clarified, but I can be pretty
I've
certain
met
he means
Troy.
Coca-Cola.
I've met Troy. He was a Coca-Cola dealer. He was not a Coke dealer. So apparently Mr. Pibb is, in fact, a Coca-Cola product.
So if you want to know about soda branding, don't listen to us, is what I've learned today.
PJ on Facebook, no, YouTube, says Mr. Pibb, now known as Pibb Extra, is a spicy cherry
now it's
soda.
Pibb Extra.
All right, well, interesting. We're going to continue the soda discussion with a little what's worse for you on the other side and preview Badger football. They kick off tonight on many of our stations on the Badger Radio Network. It's the Allbaugh Show for now. Stay tuned for Hour 2 on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I know it's not what you meant, but you said the Allbaugh Show for now. Like,
is that what I said?
I said it's the Allbaugh Show for now, and I'm like,
because I said.
I'm Michelle Franzen.
What was I saying?
No, it worked. It's just taken out of context. My brain was like, wait a second. What's going on here?
Nothing that I know of. Nothing that I know of.
School, killing 2 children and injuring 18 others. Police Chief Brian O'Hara offering more on the injured victims.
15 of the injured are children between the ages of 6 and
Greenbush Donuts today, everyone, for the office for Badger game day.
Thank you very much, Todd, for bringing those in.
Hundreds of pieces of
You're
evidence
welcome.
from search warrants carried out at the church along
I had
with 3
half of one
residences,
earlier,
including
and I said
writing
before the
of
show, I was like,
responsible
I'm going to go
women
get
to
the other
suspect.
half. Should I?
Police
No,
say
but I'm going
Robin
to.
Westman
I
appeared
went
to
and
be
it was gone.
consumed with hate
You know what?
across all
Sometimes minor
cultures and
inconvenience will
Attorneys for
serve when you
Federal
don't have
Reserve
self-control.
You gotta be there. You gotta get it while getting's good.
Well, I left it there because I was like, I don't need to
Right,
eat a
you're
whole
trying to be
donut.
polite. Yeah.
Allegations of false mortgage filings predating her tenure. On Wall Street, stocks are up in afternoon trading.
Are there more? Yeah,
This
but
is
I'm not going
ABC
to cut
News.
another one in half, and I'm not going to eat a whole other donut.
As
So
Wisconsin is
I'll just have to
cheering
make a
on
better
Bucky
choice.
Badger. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Jeff Perry, big Greenbush donut fan.
Oh, aren't they? You're absolutely right, Jeffrey.
For 92.7 WMDX News,
I'm a fan of
Shelly
Greeby's
Pittman,
in
filling
Milwaukee.
For Savannah Tomei Olsen.
What? They've been around for a long
Madison
time.
knows
Greeby's
this next
Bakery.
top cop.
I've heard of
Tom
it, never been there.
Patterson
It's
is
very,
the next
very good.
Madison Chief of Police. He's
Their
been with the
crullers are
department
great.
since
They're not like
1998.
it's
He's been
different
the
from other
interim police
people's,
chief for most of
but
this year.
just
He took
on their
over
own
when
or
Sean
with
Barnes
coffee.
resigned in February.
They're
After a vote
just so
from the
good.
Police and Fire Commission last night,
This
Patterson's
is not a
role
paid
is now
sponsorship.
permanent as part of the interview process. Each candidate had a taped interview available online. In his, Patterson said,
Over the last
I just
27
like
years,
donuts.
I've committed myself to forming deep relationships and trust with our community. I've emphasized.
Oh yes, Fosdale. I've never been there either, Jeff. I need to get out more. That's my problem. I need to get out more, quite frankly.
Fosdale Bakery and
Stoughton.
Stoughton. I have to check that out.
Foundation of our operations. Madison's the only community that I want to serve. I love this community.
he beat out 2 other finalists in getting the gig. Madison
We've
training
asked a
captain
similar
Stephanie
question to
Drescher
today's
and
What's
Milwaukee
Worse,
assistant chief
but it was a
Stephen
specific
Johnson.
one last
In
time, I
media
think.
news,
I think so.
2 Milwaukee radio stations are getting new owners and a new format. Bureau Chief Stuart J. Waddles has more.
I think we had,
Scanning the dial will soon be different
unless
in the Brew
Pete
City.
Schwaba
2
also
longtime
asked
radio
this, which
stations,
I think he did.
1021
We might have had him
WLUL
on
and
the show.
93.3 WLBD are
Oh,
being
really?
sold for $4
So I
million
think,
to Christian
I know
broadcaster
one of his
K-Love.
questions of the night
The
once
stations
was,
have
you
been
like Coke or
operated
Diet
for
Coke?
years by
Oh,
the
okay.
Milwaukee Radio
We had Coke or
Alliance.
Pepsi
That
a
was
long
created in
time ago.
1996
When we were
by
at the old
former
station
Right.
Star
on
Willie
University
Davis
Avenue.
and a family-owned company in
He
Pennsylvania.
did do
When
What's Worse
federal
there a
regulators
couple
sign
times.
off,
Yeah.
Listeners will hear
I
K-Love's
forgot about
Christian
that.
format in place of the current music.
For 92.7
Time is weird.
WMDX News, I'm Shelly Pittman, filling in for Savannah Tomei Olsen. More news anytime at WMDXradio.com.
Badgers football tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Wisconsin Badgers season kicks off tonight in Madison as they take on Miami of Ohio. The Redhawks have a new quarterback who's played for 2 other schools, Daquan Finn, Wisconsin head coach Luke Fickell.
We've watched and know a little bit more about him just because of, trying to look at him a couple years
I
ago.
sent you a cut of the old school Badger football
more
opener.
like he did at Toledo and maybe he did at Baylor. I would expect
I'll
that,
call
you'll
for it.
see a
We'll
guy that's pretty
just do the
dynamic,
regular
not just
opener,
being
but
in running,
for the
but
hour,
ability to
but
throw
at
the
some
ball
point
down
I'll
the
use it.
field, the ability to create things with his feet, and he's played a lot of football.
NFL, the Packers signed a new quarterback, Clayton Tune. Drafted by the Cardinals in 2023, he'll be on the practice squad. Sean Clifford released after 2 seasons in Green Bay. Baseball, the Brewers losing last night to the Diamondbacks 3-2. The Crew without closer Trevor McGill, now on the 15-day IL, flexor strain in his right elbow. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
As
I showed my
Wisconsin is a
roommates the
fish
clip of
fry
me
on a
yesterday
Friday
or the
night.
day before,
This is the
being like,
Civic
"Oh, I
Media
guess
Radio
football's
Network.
starting. I don't know what I'm talking about." And then you saying, "Yep, Thursday night," and me being like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to that."
Mostly sunny and
They're like,
comfortable.
"Aaron, that is exactly what we
Temperatures in
expected from
the
you."
mid-70s. Clear skies tonight, feeling crisp, down to the mid-40s. There is a teeny tiny chance for some sprinkles or light showers tomorrow midday. Otherwise, partly sunny and dry for the rest of the weekend. Right now, it's 71 degrees.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous fickle
things
cut.
like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'm Rick Smith, host of The Rick Smith Show. If you're looking for honest talk, real stories, and straight-up news that matters to you, tune in to The Rick Smith Show. We're digging into the issues that affect your job, your family, your future. Join me weeknights at 9 on the Civic Media Radio Network, because your voice
30 seconds.
deserves to
Thank
be
you.
heard. That's The Rick Smith Show. Heard week.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, a producer and engineer on the board. It's 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on this Thursday, August 28th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Welcome in, everybody. Blue skies here from the world headquarters of downtown Madison on State Street. The cameras are tilted down a little bit right now because we wanted to focus on the people. You understand, the people. But the sky is blue. Trust me. There are some people. There's a young woman in red pants and a white shirt. Now, she's probably going to the Badger game tonight. By the way, Sommers, I know that you have forgotten, but you're going to the game tonight.
Yes, I am. Earlier in the week, Todd was like, college football is starting. And I was like, yeah, I guess it is. Because I don't really pay attention to that.
I said, well, they kick off on Thursday, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to that.
Yeah, look, I don't know what I'm doing.
But you have tickets for the night.
No,
so,
I do.
So enjoy that. That's Daniel on YouTube says, hey, everybody, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, Daniel. Glad to have you along. During the break, I was talking about, I brought in some Green Bush donuts for the office today to celebrate the Badgers kicking off their football season tonight. Jeff Perry, our friend and ongoing contributor on Facebook, says Green Bush donuts are amazing.
One of them was a W.
Yeah, it was a kind of a shape of a W, motion W. Also, Jeff saying that Fosdal Bakery in Stoughton makes excellent donuts.
I have not been.
I've heard good things. So everybody in a festive mood here in downtown Madison today, because the ever popular and always tough Miami of Ohio is in town. And it's great because the students are back here in Madison, and I was driving through campus earlier today. I have my big physical tomorrow, Zommers, as you know. And so I had to get my lab work done ahead of time. So I went down where I go to the doctor is down near campus. So I thought I'd drive through campus to see what the flavor is. And it's great to have the students back because already now up on the student housing balconies, there are signs made out of bed sheets and paint with wonderful things that I cannot say on the air.
Oh, naturally, always.
About Miami of Ohio. It started out by saying the fake Miami of Ohio. And then it said something else. So, or the fake Miami, I think it said. So the students are ready to go. Late kickoff tonight, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
8 o'clock. But they're going to have like wristbands, or lights. It's going to light up LED lights.
I did not know that. Honestly,
you're going to get lit up tonight.
I was kind of just told, like, hey, there's a game at 8. Do you want to go? I'm like, sure.
You can hear the game across many of our stations on WRCE in Richland Center, WLAK in Amory, WFHR in Wisconsin Rapids, and WRPN in beautiful Ripon. Broadcast starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Mike Heller and the crew on the pregame show. And then Matt LePay starts another great season for the Badgers across those same stations. Play-by-play kickoff around 8 o'clock from the camp. And you can hear that on those civic media stations over the air. So I believe Badger Sports we can stream, right? I think so.
I don't remember what the verdict was on that. I think there was some controversy.
Well.
Not controversy.
Give it a try. You never know. It's a better chance than the lottery ticket.
That's true.
I'll tell you that right now. We're going to talk a little bit of Badger sports and about that kickoff. I will give you, now here's the deal. Normally, our friend Brady Ewing, former Badger and NFL player, joins us and gives, because normally we do this on the Friday before the first Saturday game. Or there's been a couple of times now when the Badgers played on Friday night. And I say this with love and respect. Tonight's game being at 8 o'clock on a Thursday is not a compliment. Okay, it's not.
It tells you a lot.
It is not. And so, but anyway, and so Brady, he has a day job. He doesn't need this. And so he's up in Minnesota, I think, today. So he couldn't call in because he has to do his day job. So here now, I alone will have to give you my predictions for the Wisconsin football season. We'll do that a little bit later on this half hour. Have a cut from Luke Fickell, the head coach of the Badgers, on why the offense has changed, what his expectations. The Badgers have what is known to be the toughest schedule in D1 college football this year. Talk a little bit about that. And what's up with Fick not naming captains? That's real, by the way. And so there's that. Brewers, right now in the bottom of the 6th in Milwaukee. Arizona still leads 6-4. Arizona over the Brewers, now going into the top of the 7th inning. Want to get to this before we go to what's worse. From the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And we touched on it yesterday, but because of the breaking news yesterday, we didn't get a chance to really suss this out. You can't say suss it out anymore because now suss means something else, right?
Suspicious.
Right.
Yeah.
But in my day, it said, well, you're going to suss it out. It means you're going to talk it out. You're going to work it out. You're going to get into the details. But now if something is sus, suspicious. It's kind of like a different rendition of sketchy or sketch.
It is. I mean, it's sus because it's 3 characters, because it's easy to type. And I can go more into the history of sus, but I don't.
Really?
Do you want me to?
The history of sus.
It's not long, but
enlighten us. As long as we're here, enlighten us.
Sure. So there's a mobile game. It's also, you can play it on a computer or on some consoles, called Among Us, that blew up a few years ago, as in got very popular. You have a bunch of people working on space stations. One of you is actually a traitor, an alien, and you sneak through vents. And while everyone else is doing their jobs, you try and kill them and not get noticed. And then everyone votes on who they think the killer is, and they get thrown out of the airlock or whatever. And so people would be like, red is sus, meaning like the red astronaut was acting weirdly, so we think it's them.
Thus concludes today's segment of The History of Sus with our own Aaron Zommers.
The more you know.
That's good, though. But it's a little, we used to have board games back in my day, and it was called Clue. And like the Colonel Mustard did it with a candlestick.
Yeah.
But now it's, no, the red astronaut is sus.
That's too many words. Because they're typing on their phones. You got to get hip with the lingo and use as few characters as possible.
Some places still use a lot of words, like the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
There we go.
Great reporter Jesse Opoyan Governor Tony Evers requests disaster declaration from President Trump after historic Milwaukee area flooding. Governor Evers requested a presidential disaster declaration from Trump as the Milwaukee area continues to recover from massive storms and historic flooding from earlier this month. Quote, having been on the ground to see firsthand some of the areas that have been hit hardest by the disastrous storms and flash floods that have affected folks across our state, it's clear it's going to take a significant amount of time and resources to recover, Evers said in a statement yesterday. Quote, my administration and I have been working diligently to respond and support cleanup efforts, but it's clear more help is needed to support the people of Wisconsin and ensure that they can rebuild, unquote. The governor previously submitted a request on August 13th for Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, to work with the state on formal federal preliminary damage assessments. 12 days after thousands of Milwaukee area residents woke up to find overnight flooding had damaged their homes, businesses, and livelihoods, the boots of the first FEMA team hit the ground. 4 teams operated in Milwaukee County and 1 each in Waukesha and Washington counties. About 20 FEMA staff were embedded in those teams, which also included state and local emergency management personnel and the U.S. Small Business Administration. The assessment found 1,500 residential structures that were destroyed or sustained major damage. Total damage cost estimates at over $33 million. Additionally, initial reports collected by the state show more than $43 million in public sector damage throughout 6 counties. State and federal officials will further assess damage to public infrastructure next month, according to the governor's office. 2 men living in a homeless encampment were found drowned, and at least 2 others from the same encampment along the Kinnickinnick River remain missing. Evers' August 13th request from FEMA's review followed a report from Wisconsin Emergency Management showing that initial reviews of damages suggested the state would meet the threshold for federal assistance. The report allows Evers to ask FEMA for a formal assessment, which now allows a request for formal presidential disaster declaration and federal disaster relief. It seems like to me this is taking way too long. It seems, and I'm not faulting the governor or the governor's office. I'm not sure whether it's there, whether it's the Trump administration. It just seems like this is taking longer than it normally would. And I don't know whether it's because of the doggy, the Doge, the Elon Musk cuts to FEMA earlier. All I know is there's a lot of people that need help in southeast Wisconsin. I'm glad it's moving along the way it is now, but it just seems like this is taking way too long. Here's the key thing. If you need to report damage, contact 211. Just, we have other numbers to dial or call. Just 211. Contact 211 to report damage. Additionally, residents with flood damage are encouraged to contact their insurance agent, document the report, and save receipts for any related expenses. My heart goes out to these folks. We've had people in this company that have been affected by this. And I hope that all of us, I know in southeast Wisconsin, particularly for listeners at WAUK, in the Milwaukee area, I know they've been asking for blood donations there, for donations to the Red Cross. And I know our friend Jane McNair and Aaron's reminded people of this. When you're giving out money, do it to someplace that you know, like the Red Cross, a local organization that you have a connection with, to make sure that the monies are going to the right places and that they can actually be used for what they're supposed to be used for. Again, if you need to report damage to the Milwaukee area from these tragic floods, 211 is the number to dial. 211. Continue to, and again, my hat's off to Governor Evers and their staff and also to the congressional delegation for finally sending a joint letter across party lines, because things like this should not be partisan. We're all Wisconsinites. Each of us should do what we can when we can to help our friends and neighbors. All right, should we open up the thing or should we wait till we come back?
We have a minute, so it's up to you.
I feel like we should wait till we come back.
Okay.
It's like a bottle of soda. If you shake it up, you got to let it sit for a minute before you open it up. Otherwise, you get sprayed with sticky Coke.
And nobody
Pepsi.
wants that.
And nobody wants that.
Although Diet Coke and Mentos.
Oh, Lord, don't give people ideas.
It's a fun experiment for little kids. If you do it outside, like on a tarp or something, you can easily clean up. But yeah.
Key phrase.
It goes crazy.
Keyword, outside.
Yes,
that's what you want.
Very much outside.
That's right. Milwaukee Brewers, right now, the Brewers are at the bottom of the 7th. And the Crew still trying to come from behind. 6-4 Arizona, bottom of the 7th in Milwaukee. Come on back. We're going to play a soda edition. Sugar or no sugar. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
To Madison's real news and great conversation, 92.7 WMDX.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. Look, it's probably too early to have a conversation about the 2026 race for governor in Wisconsin, but our readers spoke, and they asked for our take on this, so we delivered an extensive breakdown of who is running and who might be running in both the Democratic and Republican primaries for the first open race for governor in 16 years. In that breakdown, I identified the top 4 potential contenders to be the candidate for the Democratic Party. They are Attorney General Josh Kaul, Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, and State Senator Kelda Royce. There are more candidates we're monitoring, too. This primary will be a remarkable opportunity for voters to choose the path forward for the party. But on the Republican side, it's less about the voters and more about the endorsement of one man, Donald Trump. Because whoever gets Trump's endorsement is all but a lock to win that primary. Check out my column for much, much more.
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area.
It's the Eco Minute, powered by Clean Wisconsin, your environmental voice since 1970. I'm Amy Barrio. Angry community members in Port Washington after local leaders inked a development deal to build one of the biggest data centers in the country. The project will take up about 1,900 acres and use up enough energy to power almost 3 million homes. Residents have expressed concerns about water use, noise, wildlife harms, and energy use. According to newspaper reports, in early negotiations about the project, energy provider We Energies enticed the developer to build a much bigger data center than was originally planned. That more than tripled the energy needs.
Don't worry, nobody's listening.
Alliant Energy has lured a data center to Dane County after working on a similar project in Iowa.
I don't need to say
that
it,
data
just
center
Bob
would
say
take up
Don't worry, nobody's listening
in the
anyway.
small farming community of Vienna. It is still going through the local approval process. Right now on the Defender, Wisconsin's environmental podcast, meet the UW economist who's measuring the value of a clean environment.
30
Listen
seconds.
at cleanwisconsin.org
Gracias.
or wherever.
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show, the Civic Media Radio Network. 22 now, past the hour of 3 o'clock on Thursday, August 28th. What are you playing? What is this?
Sugar Magnolia by the Grateful Dead.
Oh, very nice. Very good. Did you just feel that in your room? In my room here, and I have shorts on today and my Badger polo shirt. Suddenly, the air condition in the studio just kicked on with a great force, like an airplane. It's blowing up my leg. And I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm just commenting.
I did not have that here.
All right. Well, he's Amers wishes he did. We can open the door between our two studios so you can get some of this cool air if you want it. All right, 23 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again to play What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again to play What's Worse. No prize money involved, nothing to give away. But it is your chance to have your voice heard in all 10-ish news, sports, and talk stations across the Civic Media Radio. I say 10-ish because the Brewers are playing on some of our network stations right now over the air, but we're on the app right now. The Brewers are in the bottom of the 7th, 2 men on, for the Crew, 6-4, Arizona. So Crew trying to come back now in the bottom of the seventh, only 1 out, 2 on. So let's hope they can come back and get that win. Chicago bombed last night on the West Coast in San Francisco. Willie Thomas, former Brewer, helping out. And I think the Cubs lost like 13-3 or 13-4 to San Francisco. So going into today, the Crew still 6.5 games ahead of the Cubs in the NL Central. We'll keep you updated on that. All right. The Badgers kick off their home opener football team tonight at Camp Randall. Can be heard on many of these stations across Civic Media against Miami of Ohio. And if you go to the camp tonight, like Zommers is, your only soda option is Pepsi products because Pepsi has the contract now for UW Sports. The category today, what's worse, sugared soda or diet soda? Sugared soda or diet soda? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, Twix, the graphic for today is Pepsi, appropriately enough, because you're going to see Pepsi products if you go to the game tonight. So you have regular Pepsi on one side for sugared sodas, and you have diet Pepsi for diet soda. What's worse, sugared soda or diet soda? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go to the phone lines. Our friend, ongoing contributor, Mr. Jeff Perry. Jeffrey, sugared soda or diet soda, what's worse?
I think this will be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say sugared sodas are worse.
Really? Why?
I would not
why
have
is
said
this?
that. I would not have said that as a young man, but this is all because of how much I enjoy Coke Zero.
Really?
I think that Coke Zero is better than regular Coke. And since they have put it on tap at Culver's,
yes,
I drink it even more than ever. So
are you being paid for this?
An endorsement for me. No payment. I get no payment on this. No
right.
stock in the company. But Coke Zero is to me the best. And I won't drink Pepsi. I'll drink water before I drink Pepsi.
All right. What's the sweetener used in the Coke Zero?
You know what? I have no idea, and I probably don't want to know. It's probably something horrible.
It could be arsenic as far as Jeff is concerned.
It's aspartame and
it's aspartame
and acesulfame potassium, something
God bless
else.
you.
Yeah.
That's what you're drinking, Jeff.
Some kind of material that they mine from asteroids.
That's right.
Something I don't know.
That's right. So all right. See, I'm going to reveal my answer here in a bit. But okay, so you're a sugared soda. You're saying is worse than the highly monoclose hydrogenated oil that you put into your body with Coke Zero.
The more chemicals, the better.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Appreciate it, Jeff. Have a great Labor Day weekend, by the way.
Yeah, and you as well.
Any big plans?
No, I think I might go to the Orton Park Music Festival in Madison. That's my only plans.
All right. Well, enjoy that. All right. Thank you, Jeffrey. Have a nice weekend. 855-752-4842. Let's go to Kurt, listening on MDX in Madison. Kurt, sugared soda or diet soda, what's worse?
Gentlemen, I hate to scare the hell out of the previous caller, but if you do any research online, diet sodas are terrible because it fools the brain in producing insulin. So your body is getting hit with abnormal amounts of insulin. So if you want to get to type 2 diabetes faster, go with the diet.
This is not good for our friend Jeff. I hope he's listening.
This is true, though.
All right. Well, I appreciate the insight, Kurt. So I'm assuming you're going to say diet soda is worse.
If you're looking on health side, yeah. If you don't care about your body, go for it.
All right. Thank you, Kurt. Have a nice. I'm wishing people a happy Labor Day weekend, Zombers. It's only Thursday. We're going to be here tomorrow.
It feels like a Friday.
It
but yeah,
feels
we
like
will
a
be
Friday.
here tomorrow.
Many people won't be, but we'll be here tomorrow. Greg in Genesee Depot on the text line says, I don't care what's in Coke Zero. I love it. Heather up in beautiful Eau Claire, Wisconsin on Facebook, listening to WCFW The Tap. Sugar soda is worse, not only because it could kill me, she happens to be a diabetic, but diet is better also because if it spills, it does not cause a sticky mess. I didn't know that. She says, also, not related, what did she say? But I may not be available for the Badger. Oh, she's what? What's going on? People, all right. Well, that's a long story we're not going to get into right now. We are going to go to break and come back, and we're going to continue. What's worse, sugar sodas or diet sodas? Zombers Hour reveal our picks, and then I am going to tell you what the final Badger score is going to be. Don't miss that. This Swami said on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to 92.7 WMDX.
As Wisconsin as a game of
that threw me off. That whole thing threw me off.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I was going to bring up is like diet soda, those sweeteners,
Butter prices tumbled to
they just confuse your brain.
2021 yesterday when they closed at 205.
The real song that I wanted to play was not Sugar Magnolia. It was Sugar by System of a Down, but it is not radio appropriate, and you would hate it.
Katie says the collapse is largely driven by record high butterfat levels on
The beginning's okay, so I'll play that just so you can see what I'm talking about.
We have
enough already.
Dropping close to $2.
I don't need any more. That's a tricky type of
there's
song.
a few different reasons. And so dairy producers out there probably have noticed that the fat levels in the milk coming off the farm continue to climb. And so one of the big drivers of lower butter prices here today is that butter fat levels at the farm level, they're the highest they've ever been as the cows make more fat in the milk, but due to a lot of it is better genetics.
Katie Burgess,
PJ on YouTube says, looks like people like poisoning themselves, facepalm. Well, yeah, I mean, alcohol is a poison.
Was the biggest single-day drop in nearly 2 years. And don't change the channel.
We just can't help it, can we?
Closing markets right after this.
Well, we've got the holiday and the kids heading back to school, and Bavaria Sausage has your bases covered on all counts. Fabulous Farm Babe Pam Yankee reminding you, shop online, BavariaSausage.com. Follow them on Facebook for the latest updates, and make sure that you're visiting their retail location, corner of Nesbitt Road, Fitzroner Road in Fitchburg. Of course, when it comes to that grilling experience, I always remind you, it's not just about their award-winning brats. It's also about the restaurant-quality meats they've got ready. Everything from burgers to pork chops, steaks to chicken. Take a look at it and shop freely. And the kids are going back to school. Are you prepared for their after-school snacks? Or maybe those restaurant-quality meats turn into a part of your quick meal plan when you get home. Bavaria Sausage, known for their old world flavor, and that comes through even in those great snacks like Lahnjagers. Many different flavors to choose from. See it all, BavariaSausage.com. They're closed September 1st and 2nd.
I'm Kylie Allen for the Midwest Farm Report, taking a look at your closing markets this Thursday. Cash corn closed up 3 at $3.85 and a half. New crop corn closed up 4 at $4.10. Cash soybeans closed up 1 at $10.28 and a quarter. New crop soybeans closed up a half at $10.48. September wheat closed up 8 at $5.10 and a quarter. September Class 3 milk contract is trading down 5 cents at $18.16, and October Class 3 milk is trading down 3 cents at $17.81. 40-pound block cheese closed up 1.5 at $1.77 and a half. And AA butter closed
Which
up
thing are you laughing at?
I don't understand what's going on right now. What's that?
This is Cam ordering, I believe, a cardboard cutout of you, or saying that he could.
That's ridiculous.
Also, is this what your
As
TikToks
Wisconsin
look
is
like?
dropping a line in your
No,
favorite
it's
fishing
not.
spot.
What
No, I know.
This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
That's
Mostly sunny and comfortable. High temperatures in the mid-70s.
These things are going to get out. People are going to think it's real.
In the mid-40s. There is
No, it doesn't look real.
chance for
It
some
doesn't look real.
sprinkles or light showers tomorrow midday. Otherwise, partly sunny and dry for the rest of the weekend. Currently, it's 72.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Matt Rothschild, longtime progressive.
I think what we need to do is convince the vast
So, Cam, you
majority
could
of
just order a
Americans to
cardboard
resist
cutout from
Trump.
Amazon? I didn't know that.
Let's not do
We're
that.
not going to
Let's
bring him
not.
over if we just act as dirty and nasty as the
I'm not saying he
Republicans are
should. I'm
in
not going to say
Texas.
anything about it on air, but I didn't know you could just order
Disagree.
cardboard cutouts from
Democrats,
Amazon.
If they talk about it plainly, say, we won't
just find it interesting.
de-escalate. You have to agree to do so too. Otherwise, we're just laying down.
I wonder if they
and
let you do
taking it.
copyrighted material so you get Jar Jar Binks.
Weekday afternoons from 4 until 6. Amicus, a law review with Jim Santel.
Public schools and private schools.
What were you going to say?
People who are sitting to
I
the
think we're going to use
right
the.
of me in
All right, we'll
classes and
we'll
on the
finish up
professors
what's
and the
worse, and then
TAs
I'll
and the staff
say,
don't
all right,
all
ladies
look
and
the
gentlemen,
same.
let's
Education's
take it back to
promoted.
old
You get a
school
better
Wisconsin
sense
is
of
coming
what the
back or
world is
something
all
like that. And
about.
I'll,
We know
then we'll
that
start with
also
the
because
the
the
open.
Supreme Court
All right,
has said so.
here we go.
Brown versus Board of Education. Brown
Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on this Thursday, August 28th, 2025. Zombers on the board as the Wisconsin Badgers are getting ready to kick off the college football season later on tonight across many of these stations. Pre-game show starts at 6 o'clock. Be here or be absent. WRCE in Richland Center, WLAK in Amory, WFHR in Wisconsin Rapids, or as the locals say, Rapids. And also our great partners, WRPN in Ripon, or as the locals say, Ripon. So there's that. Should be great. Matt LePay on the call tonight. Kickoff at 8 o'clock. Pregame show at 6. The Badgers taking on Miami of Ohio. We're going to preview that game and the entire season in just a minute. But first of all, we want to finish up what's worse. Lots of entries, lots of feelings on this. What's worse, sugared soda or diet soda? Sugared soda or diet soda? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Now, one of our callers called in before the break there and said, if you don't care about your body, then drink the diet soda because it has terrible, terrible chemicals in it, and it makes it gives you diabetes quicker. And so there's that. Jeff Perry, who said earlier, he called in and said that he was all about the diet soda. He quotes our caller and says, if you don't care about your body, he says, I think it's pretty obvious that I don't. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry, I like you better, Jerry. I call you Jerry Perry. Tony, watching on Facebook, says sugared soda is worse. Ever since they, whoever they are, put in high fructose corn syrup instead of real sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, bring on more Diet Mountain Dew or Mountain Dew Zero. With these prices today, the generic substitutes. All right, Tony. Now, here, I do not compliment Donald Trump very often. I don't say this very often. But I'll say this. I'm with Trump on cane sugar for Coke.
The thing is, when you just go on Twitter and announce, hello, everybody, we've actually worked out a deal. Coca-Cola is only doing Mexican Coke from now on. And they're just like, you didn't talk to us about that. This is not a policy. We're not doing that.
I think they're not going to only do that, but they're going to offer it more readily. Because for those that don't know, if you go to a proper Mexican restaurant or a Hispanic restaurant, Latino restaurant, and you ordered a Mexican Coke in a bottle, that the reason they call it Mexican Coke is because Coke that is manufactured in Mexico or Central America is made with real cane sugar.
It actually is different.
Instead of the high fructose corn syrup, and it does taste different, in my opinion, better. And cane sugar is a natural product, in my opinion. Not in my opinion, it is. But I think it's better for your system. That's just me. Tony,
it's still not good.
Tony no, this is not an endorsement to drink all kinds of soda. Tony on Facebook says sugared soda is.
We just read that.
Oh. Clearly, I need more sugar soda.
Need more caffeine.
Here's the problem. I didn't have a cup of coffee until partner at 10:30 today because I had these labs. I told this story on the Pat Kreitlow show this morning because I was late going to a show because I didn't have any coffee. And I was going to do it the day before. But, to do the urinalysis, the blood work, you're not supposed to eat or drink anything for like 10 hours or 12 hours, and you can't use the restroom because they want your, whatever. And so I got up on Wednesday morning, and I was just routine. I was like, well, I got to take a leak. And so I'm halfway through, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now I can't do my labs. So then, so last night I went, I was like, how am I going to, I thought I could write myself a note. I happen to have some blue painter's tape out because it's in my travel kit when I go on the road. And so I took blue painter's tape and I put it across the toilet seat. So when I woke up this morning, I'm like, no, you can't go to the restroom. So I didn't have any coffee. I hadn't used the restroom. And then thank God, Parker, the great producer for Mornings of Pat Kreitlow, Parker sends me a text and say, hey, you got to come on Pat's show. Are you coming on? So I was late getting on there. It was a mess. And I had coffee late. It has messed up my entire day.
Yeah, I don't.
Zombers is looking at me like this is old man problems right here.
No,
and you know what? You're exactly right.
No, I agree. It's coffee problems. When your body's used to having something and then it doesn't.
All right. Zombers, did we have a text we need to get to? We had some text. Megan, our own Megan texted in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. What did she
Julie
say? She said, diet soda is the worst. It doesn't taste right. If I'm drinking soda, just give me the sugar that comes with it.
I agree with that. Megan. What else we have here? John in Oshkosh says, diet Mountain Dew is liquid crack. Julie in Wausau, XCO. Neither is good for you, our health, but I prefer diet because regular soda is too sweet and syrupy. Kurt in Madison on MDX says,
Are you sharing some information about how growing sugarcane, not great for the environment?
Okay. Everything is bad for us.
Yeah, everything is bad.
You understand? There's nothing good for us. We should just all be, what are we supposed to eat? Because even like now, anyway, I don't want to go to that road.
Yeah,
all right, what other text do we have?
I believe we're more or less caught up.
All right, Zombers, what's worse, sugar sodas or diet soda?
I got to say diet. Like health reasons aside, like we said, no soda is good for you. I am a water drinker most of the time. But the sweetness that comes from those other non-sugar sweeteners is just off to me.
Yeah.
So even when it is high fructose corn syrup, I still prefer a sugared soda. It's just my personal preference.
Yeah, I've cut down on my soda after I did the personal training years ago at Orange Shoe Fitness. I'm back drinking more than I should, but
yeah,
I might have a soda, I don't know, a couple of times a week, maybe once in a while more often. But I'm a Coca-Cola person. I do like the Mexican Coke better. I do not like diet. I just don't like the taste of diet soda.
Right.
I never have. I can't get used to it. I never really tried, I guess. Look, I understand there's some people that if they have sugared sodas, that's terrible because they're diabetic. But I think the chemicals in the diet is worse for me overall. So if I'm going to enjoy and treat myself to a Coca-Cola, I would much rather have a Mexican Coke or just a regular Coke. I'm not a diet soda guy.
Yeah, me either. So I think we're pretty much on the same page.
All right, very good. That's what's worse. 42 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. The Badgers are kicking off the football season on many of these stations across the Civic Media Ready Network. If you're at Camp Randall tonight, like Zommers, you won't hear this opener anymore, but the Badgers have to get back to the fundamentals. Here's how they used to run out of the tunnel back in Brady Ewing's day.
They better get season tickets right now because before long, they probably won't be able to.
Wisconsin wins the Rose Bowl! Big Ten champions. And there it is. You do not want him in your secondary. Back-to-back Rose Bowl champions. Matt Shaver to Lee Evans. And this game is underway with a bang. And the Wisconsin Badgers are Big Ten champions. Caught by Duckworth. 4-0-8. 3 sacks back to back to back. I wanna reach out and touch the flame. And he's sacked again, and it's Joe Schobert again. DJ just ate up that pass and took it to the house. I see the dust cloud disappear without a trace. I wanna take shelter in the poison rain.
Bucky pointing towards Indianapolis in the Big Ten championship game.
Where the streets have no name.
That's how you do it. That just gives me goosebumps. You too? Streets of No Name? Barry Alvarez telling you better get your tickets pretty soon. There's not going to be any. You got Keith Jackson. You do not want him in your secondary. With Ron Dane, you got Chris Fowler on there from ESPN. You got Matt LePay with all those great calls on the Badger Radio Network, which you can hear right here tonight starting at 6 o'clock with a pregame show. That's how you open up a game. And ever since the Fickle area, now you got you got some kind of a rap hip-hop crap going on, and it just looks terrible.
Once again, this is Todd talking about this maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Really? It was quiet. And then all of a sudden it was, get up! Get up!
That was Todd complaining about the new DJ for the Badger football.
Well, that was even worse because first they had this live DJ, which was way too loud, and it was exactly what I said. Was it 2 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, we were in this studio, I think.
All right. It improved a little bit last year, but I like honoring the heritage, the tradition. And so now they've gotten rid of the air raid offense. That was all the rage. Well, they brought
yeah, it didn't work.
It didn't work. Didn't take, in the words of George Costanza. And so now they've got Coach Grimy back in there. They're going to try to run the ball more tonight. So I hope to goodness that the Badgers have a better season than they've had in the past. But optimism reigns, and we had Joe Thomas, the Hall of Famer, on this show, along with Brady Ewing, both Badger alums, and the over-under, meaning, what do you think? How many games are the Badgers, the odds makers, my friends in the desert, as Brett Musburger says, the odds makers in Vegas, the over-under are 5.5 wins, which I get it. You can't have a half a win, but the over-under is 5.5. Brady and Joe Thomas took the over. That means that they're going to get at least 6 wins this year, which would get them back in a bowl game. I have taken the under.
You also said you have a prediction for tonight's score.
I'm working on that.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm working on a score. So Brady normally joins me on this. Unfortunately, he has a real job. He's traveling today. And I invited Brandon, his great brother, on, who's also a football guru. He said, I'll take a pass. No, he's got things going on as well. I said, you know what? I might call in sick too. But no, I'm here. You understand? All right, here we go. We're going to start this and we'll finish it on the other side. Tonight, I believe the Badgers will, in fact, get a win against Miami of Ohio. Next week, Middle Tennessee. And I believe that the Badgers will get a win there. Then they travel to Alabama. That is a loss. Then they come back, play against Maryland, the Terps. I'm iffy on this, but I'll say they beat the Terps at home. At Michigan, a loss. At home against Iowa, and this one's a tough one for me, but I'll say that is also going to be a loss. At home against number 3 rated Ohio State. A loss. And then they travel to Oregon. How will the Badgers do against the Ducks? I will call the prediction and finish this up after this. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Come work with us. Civic Media has
interesting
a number of great
factoid to
jobs
share for
across the
listeners.
state. Open
Dana
now
in La
at
Crosse, one of our regular
civicmedia.us
listeners, called in earlier in between jobs, so couldn't stick around too long. JD Just Davenport's Vance visited La Crosse today, and I guess for his visit, they picked a place very close to the airport because they didn't want to see protesters.
Oh, that's probably true.
And then the street on the way to the steel place he was going splits into 2 one-way roads. They went the wrong way, so they didn't have to drive by the protesters.
Of course not. Hear nothing, see nothing.
Dana also says
lose tonight on a fourth quarter pick. Wow, Dana what a prediction.
So we'll have to share that for sure. The other one up to you, but I just thought it was very interesting.
The Cap Times Idea Fest is back.
Although he said Just Dance Vance when you were on the phone.
Oh, okay.
This year's guest speakers.
Just Davenport's is my preferred name.
Former Georgia lawmaker and voting rights activist Stacey Abrams and Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers. Idea Fest will also feature some of the nation's leading journalists, from Maureen Dowd of the New York Times.
Maureen Dowd.
Along with former Washington Post columnist Eugene Robinson and Jennifer Rubin. It's at CapTimesMediaFest.com.
Streaming TV is where it's at. It's not about cutting the cord anymore. It's all about your customized TV options. With the best and cheapest high-speed internet and your own TV subscriptions, we've
You
got
have time to dial up a little either on Wisconsin or if you want to be a Badger.
Internet and TV, save money and get more internet speed and better TV today by calling the Whole Home Connect.
800-217-9129. 800-217-9129. 800-217.
Come in with it.
Sure. That's fine.
My name is Bill Collins. I'm the great-grandson of the meatpacker Oscar Mayer and a member of the Patriotic Millionaires, a collection of wealthy Americans who share a profound concern about the dangers of concentrated wealth and power in America. Now, the fact is, you may not care how much money another person has, but you likely do care how much power another person has, especially if they're using that power to rig the rules of the economy to make themselves richer and you poorer. You see, there is a point where money is no longer
Pardon
money,
me, Jerry.
it's
I
power.
already
And
did.
when rich people use their money to drown out the voices of everyday people, it threatens the safety and security of us all. Patriotic millionaires don't want to live in a country with a few extremely rich people controlling everything, leaving millions of people struggling to just get by. Luckily, we have a solution. Tax the rich. Tax the rich. Tax the rich.
30 seconds.
I'm Chuck Collins.
Gracias.
I'm a patriotic millionaire, and I approve this message.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders.
University of Wisconsin marching band, Eat a Rock. That'll be a great part of tonight. Get there early as hours, see the pregame show. A little, if you want to be a Badger, come along with me. Always fantastic. Go to the Union South tonight to see the Wisconsin marching band play, and then they go through the arch into Camp Randall. It's a great tradition. One of my favorite parts about going to a Badger game. They take on they take on Miami of Ohio. Tonight, you can hear that game on WRCE in Richland Center, WLAK in Amory, WFHR in Wisconsin Rapids, and WRPN in Ripon. And maybe on the Civic Media app as well. Check it out. We'll see. Pre-game show at 6 o'clock with Mike Keller, and then Matt LePay and Mark Tauser take over with the kickoff just after 8 o'clock. It's a night game tonight. Going through my predictions for this season. When we last left you, We're at the October 4th game. I said when the Badgers go to Michigan, the Wolverines will pull that out. Loss for Wisconsin. They come back to take on Iowa. This is always a close series, Iowa and Wisconsin. I'm going to say Iowa sneaks by a field goal, a loss for Bucky. Then Ohio State comes to town. Number 3 in the country right now. Loss for Wisconsin. They go to Oregon, number 7 in the country. Loss, I predict. They'll come back. I am going to say they beat the Washington Huskies at home on November 8th. That's a win for Bucky. Go to Indiana. It's going to be close. I'm going to go with the Hoosiers. Then the traveling Berts. Brett Bielema, who, of course, came to Wisconsin, where he coached and went to 3 Rose Bowls, won 3 Big Ten championships, was Brady Ewing's main coach all those years. And then he came back, Bielema did, as the Illinois coach, and he beat Paul Chryst. And it was after that loss that McIntosh, the AD, fired Chryst. The traveling Berts come back to Camp Randall and beat Bucky once again. And maybe that's the final straw for Fick. And then my prediction is that Barry Alvarez, the interim coach of Wisconsin, will go to Minnesota to try to win back the Axe. If Fickle is still the coach, which he probably will be because it's a huge buyout. I don't think Fickle's going anywhere this year, regardless. Unfortunately, the Flexters, who will be taking on the Fixters, the Flexters win. They'll row the boat and beat Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin at 4-8 this year. Wins tonight, next week against Maryland and Washington. Now, that said, my unofficial round table that we go through this every year, one of the people at the round table has a record of 3-9 for Bucky. Another person at the table, 7-5, getting back to a bowl game. And their son, Parker, the optimist of the group, has Bucky at 9-3 and knocking on the door to a playoff championship. Wouldn't it be great if Parker was right this year? And look, I say I make my predictions because for those who have watched this show a while, listened to it, I bought in on Fickle, hook, line, and sinker when he got hired. I think I had Bucky like almost undefeated and going to
that you did, yeah,
a national championship. Maybe that was a little bit of wishful thinking. I want the Badgers to do well. I really do. Because it's it's part of what makes Wisconsin great. So I wish them all the best of luck. And look, Matt LePay and Tauger are always great to listen to. And I hope at the end of the season, Zommers, you can replay this and people can call in and say what a boob Todd is when it comes to picking sports records.
We can only hope.
Yes, we can only hope. Now, Dana, listening on WLCX in La Crosse, Dana with a hot take. Dana says, unfortunately, Bucky loses tonight on a fourth quarter pick 6. You heard it here first. Wow. That would be unfortunate. All right, Zommers, I will tell you the score tonight, perhaps closer than the experts think, in the words of the incomparable Lee Corso. Wisconsin 21 and Miami of Ohio 14. Bucky wins tonight 21-14. That is my prediction for the game tonight. We'll see. I hope they crush them. I hope with this new offense, they come out and reestablish the Wisconsin running game. I hope that's true. Dick, listening on WMDX here in Madison, calling in. Dick, about a minute or so here. Are you going to the game tonight, Dick?
No, I wish I was. I used to have season tickets in the late 90s, early 2000s until about 2003. I just thought of my favorite game I ever witnessed there.
Tell me.
Against Drew Brees, night game, and my buddy and I were sitting there on the upper deck and JJ, and he goes at halftime, God, he might throw the ball 65 times, 70 times tonight. You know how many times he threw it?
A lot.
82.
Yeah. It was incredible.
And it was just crazy. It was crazy. And we had so much fun with the Purdue fans because during jump around and all of them, these people are looking at us and this is moving. And Jim and I were just, I don't feel nothing, do you?
Right.
And they're like, you got to feel this. No. No, we don't feel a thing. What are you talking about?
No,
but it was a great night, and it was a hell of a game.
I was not at that game, but I know other people that were. They said the same thing. One of the most memorable Wisconsin games they've ever been at.
Imagine throwing the ball 82 times.
No, I can't.
And they lost.
I know.
It was bad.
It was crazy.
It was great.
Drew Brees to this day does not enjoy coming back to Madison. That's what I've heard, for real.
Probably not.
Yeah, you're not a fan of Wisconsin. And of course, he went on to win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, nothing against
I
him.
could go way back for one more.
Yeah.
Penn State, 1970, when I was a sophomore in high school. They beat a team with Jack Ham, Lydell Mitchell, Franco Harris, on and on and
Wow.
on. They came in here rated
Incredible.
They came in here rated like 5th or 6th, and the Badgers beat them.
Love it. Great way to end the show, Dick. Thanks for the call. Best of luck to Bucky. You can hear it tonight on the Wisconsin Badger Radio Network on Richland Center, Amory, Wisconsin Rapids, and Ripon. Pregame show at 6 o'clock and the kickoff at 8 o'clock. Stay with us. Maggie Dawn is next. We'll be here live tomorrow. We'll do a rehash of the game tonight. Until then, whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. We'll see you tomorrow.
Adios, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.